It all started with a quiet move that no one saw coming. Before we dive deep into the emotional story behind Dylan Wang's shocking decision, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you won't miss any updates about your favorite stars. What Dylan did before leaving Shen and their 3-year-old daughter has now become one of the most talked about moments in the entertainment industry, a move that fans are still struggling to understand, and one that has left both heartbreak and mystery in its wake. For months, people had been whispering that something seemed different between Dylan and Shen. The two, once inseparable both on and off screen, appeared distant in public appearances. Yet, behind the scenes, sources claimed Dylan was preparing for something major, a change that would redefine his life, career, and the family he had quietly built away from the spotlight. No one expected that this move he was preparing would be one that would break so many hearts. Dylan had always been a man of discipline and silence. When others talked, he observed. When rumors spread, he smiled and moved on. But this time, that calm demeanor masked something deeper, a plan that would soon take him away from Shen and their young daughter. Those closest to him described it as a moment of heavy emotion, as if he was battling between duty and desire, between love and ambition. The story begins in late summer, when Dylan was seen frequently visiting a property on the outskirts of Hangzhou. Paparazzi initially believed it was just another filming location, but what they didn't know was that Dylan was preparing to move there temporarily, alone. According to insiders, he had been quietly finalizing arrangements, from hiring movers to scheduling meetings with his management team, without Shen full knowledge. He wanted to leave everything in perfect order before stepping away, ensuring his family would be safe and cared for even in his absence. People close to the couple say the tension began when Dylan received an international project offer, one that would demand months of isolation and travel. Shen reportedly hesitated, reminding him that their daughter was still only 3 years old and that they had both promised to prioritize family. But Dylan, torn between love and opportunity, saw this project as something that could secure their future. His move wasn't just physical, it was emotional, strategic, and painfully necessary in his eyes. The last week before his departure was filled with subtle signs. Fans noticed Dylan's posts on social media suddenly turned nostalgic. He shared pictures of sunsets, handwritten notes, and captions that seemed cryptic. "Every goodbye hides a promise of return," he wrote under one post. Another photo showed his daughter's tiny hand holding his, with no caption at all. The internet flooded with speculation, but few could imagine the truth. Dylan was saying goodbye, piece by piece, before anyone even realized it. Shen, meanwhile, was said to be struggling to hold it together. Those close to her described her as quiet, almost withdrawn during that time. She had always supported Dylan's dreams, but the thought of him leaving again, especially now that their child could speak, laugh, and ask, "Where's Daddy?" made her heart ache in ways words couldn't capture. On the final evening before he left, Dylan reportedly spent the entire night at home with Shen and their daughter. There were no grand gestures, no public announcements, just a family sharing one last peaceful night. He cooked dinner himself, something he rarely did due to his busy schedule. Shen, who had tears in her eyes for most of the night, tried her best to stay strong, smiling through the pain as their daughter laughed between them. According to an insider, after their daughter fell asleep, Dylan quietly placed a small box on Shen's bedside table. Inside was a simple silver pendant engraved with 3 stars, representing the 3 of them. Along with it was a handwritten note, "No matter where I go, you are my North Star." That gesture, though small, broke Shen's composure. She wept silently as Dylan held her close, whispering promises that he would return soon. The next morning, he left before sunrise. No cameras, no entourage, no farewells. Just a single suitcase, a car, and the sound of soft rain falling as he stepped out of the house. Shen stood by the window holding their daughter, watching the car disappear into the mist. That image, a mother and child watching the man they loved drive away, remains etched in the memory of everyone who knew them. When news of Dylan's departure broke, fans were stunned. The media immediately began spinning stories, some claiming the couple had broken up, others suggesting it was just a professional move. Hashtags like hashtag Dylan leads Shinue and hashtag Shinue strong trended overnight. Some fans defended Dylan's decision, saying he was doing it for his family's future, while others accused him of abandoning Shinue and their child at a critical time. Days later, Dylan broke his silence with a simple message on his fan community page. Sometimes, love means walking away for a while, not to end things, but to make them stronger. That line alone sparked thousands of emotional comments. Fans could feel the weight behind his words. It wasn't just a celebrity PR statement, it was the cry of a man caught between his career and his heart. As weeks went by, Shinue began sharing quiet moments online. Then he left a small bouquet of white lilies near the spot where they filmed their first scene together. It was his quiet goodbye, not to Shinue, but to the beginning of everything they had shared. The move wasn't about ending love. It was about preserving it, even if it meant enduring pain. For Dylan, the hardest part wasn't leaving home, it was walking away from the sound of his daughter's laughter echoing through the house. For Shinue, the hardest part wasn't waiting, it was pretending to be okay when her heart felt empty without him beside her. Now, months after his departure, the story of Dylan Wang's move before leaving Shinue and their 3-year-old daughter continues to stir emotions across Asia. Some fans still believe the distance will only make them stronger. Others worry that fame, time, and separation might slowly chip away at the love that once seemed unbreakable. But one thing remains certain, Dylan's decision wasn't one of selfishness. It was one of sacrifice. He left not because he stopped loving, but because he wanted to build something worth coming back to. His every action before leaving, the pendant, the lullaby, the late-night goodbyes, all pointed to a man torn by love, trying to hold his world together even as it shifted beneath his feet. In the end, love often looks different from what we imagine. It's not always about staying close, sometimes it's about trusting that distance won't destroy what's real. Dylan and Shinue's story is proof of that, a reminder that even in heartbreak, there can be hope. Their bond, tested by time and circumstance, continues to remind millions that true love doesn't end when someone leaves, it endures until they return. As of now, sources say Dylan is working hard overseas, keeping in touch with Shinue and their daughter through video calls and letters. And Shinue, ever patient, continues to raise their little girl surrounded by love and memories, waiting for the day when the sound of the door opening again will mean Daddy's home for good. So while the headlines may scream about separation, what truly lies beneath is something deeper, a story of sacrifice, commitment, and quiet faith. Dylan's move before leaving Shinue and his 3-year-old daughter wasn't the end of their story. It was just another chapter, one written with tears, courage, and the hope of reunion. And as fans continue to send messages of support and love, one thing is clear, no matter where life takes them, the bond between Dylan Wang, Shinue, and their little girl remains one of the most beautiful love stories in the industry. Their silence speaks louder than any words could, a silence filled with love, longing, and the promise that someday, they'll find their way back to each other again.